Welcome to this week's edition of the Bible, the Basketball, and the Briefcase podcast. I'm your host, Jay Martin, and I'm so excited because today we're going to talk only about the law. So many times we've talked about the Bible and the basketball sports, and we've just done a little segment at the end on the law. But I'm going to take you into a webinar that I just hosted along with our associate, Jacob Russell, and where we talk about trusts and different types of trusts, lots of different types of trusts. But I hope this will be helpful, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Have a great day. Welcome to this webinar, and so glad you could be with us on this Monday night. We had a couple delays because of the bad weather, but we're glad to get with you tonight. I'm Jay Martin, and we're going to be talking about trust tonight. We've done that a few times, but I'm excited to introduce you to Jacob Russell, associate here at our law firm. And Jacob, I know that you came to do other things as well, but you come from a great trust background.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the viewers a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I have a background in doing revocable trust as well as irrevocable trust with a focus on Medicaid planning to protect assets should an elderly loved one need full-time care in a nursing facility. So for the past several years, I have focused on that. It's always great to help those folks who come in. Sometimes a lot of anxiety, a lot of questions about that. Always happy to work with them.
And with you coming on, Jacob, there's just about not any kind of trust we can't offer to folks. Tonight I want to kind of talk about the different kinds of trusts, and we're going to get down to where we talk about if you have a beloved pet, you can have a pet trust. You can have a trust for your dog or for your cat. It sounds a little funny sometimes, but, we love our pets. And years ago, Jacob, I had a client, and she loved her cats.
Mm-hmm.
And she essentially left her home to her cat. I did not recommend that, but she didn't want to do a trust.
Sure.
But she did leave a child of hers that he would actually get the house so long as he would take care of her cats. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's probably a little bit better ways to do that with the trust, but we could even talk all the way down to a pet trust and maybe, give some of the reasons why you might need one trust over another. And you had mentioned, and I've talked about several times with our viewers, maybe not several times, but we have discussed at least on occasions the revocable trust and trying to avoid the probate process. Matter of fact, we had one webinar where I just talked about the probate process and all that goes into a probate case, and maybe why the revocable trust might be a good tool to avoid that. But if you could, maybe you could take just a few moments to kind of tell us the difference between the revocable trust, the irrevocable trust. And I know when you get to irrevocable, there are some other types of trusts that I know you can talk about too, involving Medicaid, Medicare, and so many people, I think, are concerned, Jacob, that what they work so hard for, if there's a way to prevent the government from taking their assets, if there's a plan for doing that, I know that a lot of people are interested in that. So maybe you could break that down for a moment between the revocable and irrevocable and these other trusts that will help with that.
Yeah. So I know you've talked at length before, you and I have, and on your webinars as well, about a revocable trust is a wonderful tool to avoid probate. And it gives you a lot of control over where and how your assets are distributed when you pass away. An irrevocable trust goes a step further, and that's also going to provide protection for those assets while you are alive as well. So with a revocable trust, Jay, I know you've talked about this, you maintain that control over those assets. With an irrevocable trust, especially when we talk about planning to protect assets, those assets are put in an irrevocable trust, and you don't quite have the level of control, but you can still have the same level of enjoyment of those assets. That change in control is part of the protection that is offered in an irrevocable trust.
Okay, very good. Now, can you tell us what a Medicaid asset protection trust is? I think this gets into some of those solutions for people that are looking for a way to try to maybe protect their assets against having to go into the nursing home or something of that nature.
Sure. So a Medicaid asset protection trust, that's going to be a trust where you would fund the assets that you would like to protect. And in the world of Medicaid, there are a lot of regulations. The Medicaid manual here in Arkansas is vast, to say the least. It's several hundred pages. What the Medicaid Asset Protection Trust does, it allows us to protect those assets, is to still comply with the provisions in the Medicaid manual. One of the biggest things that a lot of folks will hear is the 5-year look back period.
Right.
We want to get our assets in trust, and we sure would like to have them in there for 5 years. Doesn't mean we can take them out after the 5 years, but after 5 years, those assets can't be counted, can't be used to pay for nursing care.
Right. I see. Well, so that's so if I was interested in trying to shelter my assets from maybe from the nursing home in the future or something like that, I need to get started quickly because it's going to take 5 years after creating that Medicaid trust before I can separate myself.
Absolutely. We tell folks there's never a wrong time to prepare for your estate plan. And even with Medicaid planning, there's not necessarily a wrong time. But the sooner the better. Yeah, that 5 years, that's a chunk of time.
Yes.
And the sooner you can get assets in and get them protected, the less you have to worry about the 5 years.
And I've talked with people, and really all they're wanting to do is avoid the probate process, and that's fine. You can have a revocable trust. That way you don't separate yourself from your property. You still have total control. You can sell property out of a revocable trust. You can take property in. But when it comes to the irrevocable trust, really, you never know if you're going to be in an accident or whatever might happen. So
exactly,
you don't really want to say, well, I'm going to wait till I think I have 5 years before I go in the nursing home, because who knows when you would have to go in the nursing home. So if that was what you wanted to do, it's probably not good to put off the revocable trust either, but you certainly need to get started on the Medicaid asset protection.
Absolutely. The sooner the better. And a good thing about it is you can choose what assets you do want to protect. A lot of folks, one of the myths, one of the anxiety-provoking parts is, well, I don't have control over anything at all. And that's not true. We don't want to lock away every aspect of your life in the trust.
Right. I understand. There's also the Supplemental Needs Trust. Tell us about that.
So, Jay, I know you've had a lot of opportunity throughout your career to address, folks that have supplemental needs.
Right.
What used to be called special needs is supplemental needs. For those individuals, we will have clients from time to time that will come in and they may have a child, a grandchild, niece, nephew, some type of relative who has some type of disability where they do require benefits that help with living expenses, daily living, medical assistance. A lot of times, those folks have government benefits with very strict requirements. Should that person inherit, either through probate, as we've talked about, or through a trust, they can oftentimes be kicked off of their benefits. A supplemental needs trust is a great tool where they can still get the benefits of those assets, and they still qualify for their benefits as well to help care for their health and well-being.
Okay. And I think there is a limitation as to the amount of money you can put in those trusts.
Some of those trusts, there are some limitations. A lot of that gets very fact specific on type of benefit they receive or type of trust you'd like to look at.
Okay. Domestic Asset Protection Trust.
Okay. So this is a newer one in Arkansas.
Yes.
Back in I believe it was 2023, our legislature passed the Domestic Asset Protection Trust Act. So the Domestic Asset Protection Trust is another type of trust to protect assets, perhaps not so much from nursing facility costs, but if you perhaps you are employed in an occupation that is high risk, or perhaps you are looking to shelter assets. We're very litigious, and that's okay.
Sure.
But some folks would like to protect their assets in the event that there is a terrible accident, or they are in an occupation that is often sued for some type of wrongdoing. There are ways to protect those assets as well.
Okay. When I see domestic, it makes me think about maybe a married couple, or that it's related to marriage.
So I think I don't see it so much in marriage. I think it's just, for when we talk about our assets here, Arkansas passed the law. That way those individuals can keep their assets in Arkansas. They don't have to take them to another state where they have those statutes.
That's the domestic part then. Okay, I see now. The charitable remainder trust.
Okay, so this would be for someone that's charitably inclined. We often see this if someone has perhaps qualified retirement accounts, or they just have a charitable heart and would like to give. It is a trust where their children, grandchildren, some type of relative can still benefit during their lifetime, and then either at a set time by the person making the trust, or at that beneficiary's passing, the remainder can go to a charity of their choice.
I see. Okay. Well, that's very good to also for the public good, I guess, as well. We touched on just a little bit about the pet trust. I know this is kind of a novel topic.
It is. I like the cat story. That's great. Yes, that's wonderful.
Right.
I did one. I'm originally from North Central Arkansas. So years ago, I did one for a donkey.
Okay. Donkey.
So it's dogs, cats, donkeys, any pet.
Right.
But a lot of people, they have a very strong attachment to their pet.
Yes.
And they would like to make sure that they are well cared for.
Certainly.
And we can make provisions in trust for you to be able to leave funds or certain types of assets to care for those pets during their lifetime as well.
Absolutely. I know many times people worry about their pets during the time that they pass away to make sure that their pets are taken care of during that period, and that there's a home for them and so forth. So really, I think what you're seeing is with Jacob in our firm, whatever kind of trust you need, and we've touched on some, and of course, for any of these trusts, we can sort of put them with other trusts and try to accomplish goals that you may have, like the pet trust. We could certainly make part of a revocable trust as well. And then the last thing we have on our sheet to talk about, obviously, are wills. And people still want wills sometimes, Jacob. Sure. I just signed up a family that they are just doing a will.
Sure.
And the reciprocal wills, and of course, they understand that the will have to be probated. Mm-hmm. Some people choose still to do that.
Exactly.
It's a little less to prepare reciprocal wills, husband and wife. And then as far as, and I know some people will mix and match maybe a beneficiary deed with that for their real property, to leave their real property upon death to whatever loved one. And so in that way, they just sort of opt out of all the trust talk.
Sure.
And we still do those as well if folks wanted them. So, well, listen, I wanted to take just a few moments to introduce you to our audience and try to go through these various trusts. Now, obviously, I think probably what I realize I do a lot of times, Jacob, is I create more questions than I give answers. And of course, everyone has to try to match their need to the type of trust that they have.
Absolutely.
And just because we kind of ran down a laundry list of trusts here, doesn't mean that you said, yeah, that's exactly what I need. And so sometimes there's still some sorting and looking at assets and trying to figure out what exactly is best. But, I told you when actually in the interview process that we're driven by values here at our firm. And our number one value is we value our clients. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here. So I had someone say, JF, I just need a will. Are you going to try to sell me a trust? And I said, no. I mean, I can, if you have a will and you want to go through probate, that's fine, and try to talk about what the probate process is like. But we really do want to try to prepare what our clients need. Mm-hmm. And I think with the addition of you and with your background, I think that's going to really allow us to really provide all kinds of different trusts that anyone might need. But so we just want to take a few minutes here and run through these trusts with you. You can call our office, 501-375-5545. You can speak to me, Jay Martin, or you can call for Jacob Russell, let us know that you heard us on the webinar, and we will have a special discount and special information for you for those who tune in on the webinar. And I think we're going to make the password Pet Trust.
I think that's a good password.
Whether you need a pet trust or not.
That's right.
You can tell us that, and we'll know that you tuned into the webinar, and we'll be able to visit with you. And generally what we like to do, Jacob, I'm still old-fashioned. I think the best way to hire an attorney is in person.
Yes.
Of course, if you're watching this, you say, I'm in Michigan and I want to create an Arkansas trust. Well, we can do that. I don't know that I'd recommend that.
Right.
But we can do telephone conferences, and sometimes, and we make house calls.
We
For
do. That's right.
elderly clients, we certainly can make house calls, but we really like to sit down and try to meet face to face and try to figure out exactly what you need. That consultation is always free as we try to figure out what we can do to help you. And so call our office. Feel free to give us to send us an email to at hcm@wallacelawfirm.com. Wallace is WALLACE, or I believe yours is JGR
Yes.
at wallacelawfirm.com. You can email either of us. Or my cell phone is 501-951-1333. If it's after hours or weekends, please call on that. Would love for you to do so. If I don't answer, leave a message. I'll try to get right back with you on that as well. But we're so thankful to you for tuning in tonight. Please get in touch with us if you have questions. If you want to set up a free consultation, reach out to us. We'll be happy to visit with you. And God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.